A very warm welcome to Agree to Disagree, our new live and unscripted, interactive, global talk show, broadcasting to you live from the birthplace of debate, Greece. In each show, we'll be discussing global topics from a local level, giving you a wonderful opportunity to join in the conversation, to share your opinions or ideas, and most importantly of all, to make your voice heard. In today's edition, we're going to be talking all about conspiracy theories. You know the ones. And if you like what you see and hear, please like us, follow us and share us on Facebook. Or else if you're watching us on YouTube, perhaps you'd be good enough to subscribe to our channel. As always, we're very lucky to have our wonderful producer Claire, who will be answering all your comments on Facebook Live Messenger. And of course, no show would be complete without the one and only Thomas, master at the controls, who I'm very pleased to say joins me live here in the studio with me right now. Hello, Thomas, and how are you?
Hello, Adrian, and hello everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in again. Thanks for watching. I'm fine, man. I'm a little bit chilly at the moment. It's getting cooler.
Yes, it's dropped a few noticeable degrees since we first started broadcasting, actually, at the beginning of the week. It has.
It's different. But thanks, guys, for logging in. Thanks for switching on, listening. Again, it's Friday, end of the week, man. What a great weekend. Yeah, hooray. Well, guys, today, everything about conspiracy. And as we start every show off, we show the meaning of conspiracy. Man, that's gonna be a hot issue today.
It could be a hot potato. Yes, it could.
But what is it?
We've
Let's
got a
have
few
a
lined
look.
up our sleeves. Well, according to the definition you see on screen there, conspiracy, a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. As an example, he joined the conspiracy to overthrow the government. I wonder who that was.
I don't know. That's come up, man. That came up when I searched for it. Where's the meaning for it? So what is the definition of conspiracy? And this came up, and it's funny. It's all about the government, isn't it?
That is, but actually conspiracy theories aren't necessarily so. They can be all sorts of things, ranging from people's unexpected deaths to chemicals in the air to certain areas in America and certain political movements online, all of which we'll mention as we go along. And please, I mustn't forget to ask all our wonderful viewers and followers, if you have a pet conspiracy theory or you just want to get something off your chest about conspiracy theories, please don't hold back. Drop us a line, engage with our wonderful producer Claire, and we will broadcast your comments live on air. Or of course, better still, why not pick up the phone and dial free Skype, and our name there of course is Studio Kerkera.
Or write us an email to inbox@studiokerkera.com, and if I see it, I'm gonna read it out, but sometimes I miss a few things because it goes so quick with your comments, guys. Well, it's great, loving it when you take part and talk to us. And let me go over quickly to today's poll we have up. Do you believe in conspiracy? So we have 1, yes, I believe. 2, I believe in some. And 3, it's all nonsense. And when I look
that's the
now
polite version, actually.
That's the polite version.
We were thinking of a few other alternatives, but we settled on nonsense.
I know, but
in memory of Edward Lear, as we're on this beautiful land of Corfu, I think Edward Lear probably tipped the scales on that one. Nonsense. He was known for a book of verse and nonsense rhymes, I think. Something like that.
Great, but if I look now in, we have yes, I believe, we got 13%. I believe in some, 50%, and it's all nonsense, 38%.
Excellent. So that's a good set of figures, and actually not too far from what I was thinking that could possibly be, Thomas, because it does affect and touch everybody, really.
Oh, definitely.
In one way or another. You can't avoid them in the newspapers. They're all over the news today, for instance, about a particular one, which we'll get to later. Started this week off, actually, with Facebook. And I think we agree, don't we, Thomas, that since the advent and the rise of social media, these so-called conspiracy theories have absolutely proliferated everywhere.
Completely. Anywhere you look now on social media, you're gonna run into a conspiracy, and especially the theories behind it. And it's quite, some are quite amusing to read through. Where can identify yourself? Hey, that's nonsense, as we say. Yeah. And there's others on there where say, okay, you know what? Maybe he got there something. But in the end of the day, how do you see what's true, what's fake, or how do you, conspiracy? It's a slippery area, man.
It's very slippy and can be a hot potato, and it has extra resonance right now, particularly in the United States of America, because of the forthcoming elections. And I'm sure you don't need reminding that 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, there was the birth of a particular conspiracy theory, and 4 years later, we've got a similar conspiracy theory, except it's completely been flipped on its side, and now it's in complete reverse.
Yeah, great.
Just to confuse you even more.
Confuse you. But before we really get stuck into the whole thing, let me say hello to some of our regular viewers. Is Margaret Black here saying good evening? Leon Jagger is saying hi guys. Tom Giddings, Lauren Smith, Nikos Louvros, Elaine is watching, Pierre Towers, Ami Speller from Finland.
Great. Haiva Ilta to all our lovely Finnish friends.
That's what I wanted to hear from you, man.
I thought so.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. So if you have any questions, if you want to take part in our conversation, write us an email to inbox@studiokerkura.com or go on to Skype or Messenger and send us live here a message or comment here, and we try to pick that up. But let's move on. Conspiracy. What is only conspiracy nowadays? We identified a couple of them, didn't we?
We actually identified quite a few. Actually, an early one in the modern age, which I heard recently, and I've very quickly dismissed it. Would you believe there's even a conspiracy theory about the sinking of the Titanic? Apparently, so the story goes, that the actual ship known as the Titanic that sunk wasn't. It was a sister ship called the Olympic or Olympia or something. I really don't know whether that holds any water, pardon the pun, because that's not a funny subject. All those poor people tragically lost their lives on what we've always believed to be an accident, or maybe a slight miscalculation of icebergs and whatnot, but not really a conspiracy. There was even one, Thomas, purporting that some well-known American international banking house was behind it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to mention their name because I have seen absolutely no evidence. The theory there was that some passengers on board weren't in agreement with what the bank wanted to do with setting up a new bank, and they had them sort of liquidated. What a terrible word that is, isn't it? But I believe it was an iceberg, and I'm sticking to that theory. On another point, Thomas, you mentioned the inbox at studiokerkura.com.
Yes.
There's your chance to write in your own conspiracy theory, because you just may have one hanging around up your sleeve. If you do, well, you know, as you do. If you do, please jot it down. You can remain Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Anonymous. It's not a problem at all, and we can read them out, perhaps. We may get some interesting theories.
Or maybe you just have been discussing not long ago with a couple of your friends as conspiracy theories, and, you know, but we just spoke about it, and I think could be plausible. But, you know, how do you identify what is real, what is fake? And that's a big problem with this thing. But there's some
huge.
There's some jams of conspiracies out there, man.
Well, yes, so
you know, let me mention one of the jams.
What
makes me giggle? What is the guys? What is the conspiracy? What makes you giggle?
Yeah.
So mine is when they come from the flat Earth Society.
Oh, that's a good old chestnut, isn't it?
I mean, that's a good one, isn't it?
It is a good one. Actually, do you remember, a couple of years ago, we covered that subject briefly on Night Shift Series 1, when we told our lovely viewers that there was a gentleman in America who had got more money than sense and had spent £65 million on launching a rocket just to prove his theory that the Earth was flat. Do you know what, Thomas?
Has he launched it?
Exactly. I don't know. I never heard any
one?
more about it. I think it's all gone deathly quiet on that subject. But
it's still strong. There are still people out there
there's
who
a whole organisation
genuinely believe.
Yes.
Yeah, organization.
Yeah.
Well, genuinely believe the Earth is flat. We get lied to constantly. So we've been lied to all our lives. And here we go. Now the Earth is flat. It's not round. And it makes me after everything. I mean, what brings you on? How can you disprove that now and say, you know what, now it's not flat, it's round, guys? Yeah. Then the first thing I would say to them, look, I mean, we landed on the moon.
That's another one.
You got the pictures. But as soon as you say that one,
exactly.
it's the next one jumping up. No. Sorry, we never landed on the moon.
Absolutely, that's a classic.
Wow, you know, one goes into another, and these two are really stuck with me. They make me giggle. So, the Earth is flat, or
You see, the thing
we
is,
never landed on the moon. It's
on the subject of flat Earth. The funny thing is, though, we've got this live feed of cameras
Yeah.
from the ISS now, haven't we? The International
Exactly.
Space Station.
Yeah.
And those pictures, unless of course they've been doctored, heaven forbid, but if we're to believe what we see on screen from the ISS, we can clearly see the Earth is a globe.
It's a globe.
It's not
It's
flat.
not. I mean, if that is a conspiracy, I mean, they've thrown a lot of money at it, aren't they? Because they're
yes.
keeping that going since 1969. No?
Yes, absolutely. And of course,
that's
there's even
1969,
conventions
yeah.
about this Flat Earth Society. We mustn't forget, though, of course, back in the late 1400s, a certain Christopher Columbus set out to prove that theory. The theory was active then, would you believe, that people thought that if you sailed off over towards the horizon, when you got to the
Yeah.
horizon, you'd just fall off.
Yeah, man,
But
here.
he proved that wrong.
He proved that wrong. You
Yeah.
didn't fall off. You
No.
just circumnavigated the
Exactly,
planet. But
yeah.
where is the edge? What is the? But here is great. Nikos Louvos is writing. He's saying, "Hi, Nikos. Is the theory of flat Earth a conspiracy? Question mark. The followers of the theory are saying that their movement is on the increase globally." And he's right.
It may well be so, Nico. Good evening to you. Yes, it could well be on the increase, but that could be a throwback to sort of anti-government people and people not believing anything that they hear. Most proliferated from the COVID-19 business, I suppose. But we would, if you're out there and have that opinion, actually, if there is any one of you anywhere in the world listening to our debate here, agree to disagree, if you hold that view that you truly believe the Earth to be flat, please drop us a line. Let us know. What is your reasoning?
What is the behind it? What is really
Exactly.
the evidence? There must be such a strong evidence existing. They know about. We all don't.
Indeed.
I
but
mean,
we don't
how can
know,
you?
so-
Yes, it's all. But I mean, here Bertha Haas is saying, so tell them all to jump off the edge then. But it's,
Nice one,
no,
Pierre.
it's good. We would like to discuss this because it's a point of view. I have not met anybody who said, okay, Earth is flat. And I tell you that's flat now, and what you think, it's all just brainwashed. I haven't met anybody.
No, I can't say I have either, Thomas, to be quite frank.
And
I
if it's in
can't
the
think of one.
increase, the movement, I heard about that, as it should be really in the increase. They're getting more followers. But how? What evidence do they have? We don't.
I don't know. Let's hope one of our
somebody
viewers
fallen
might be
off the
able to fill us
edge
in.
or what, and they have a video. I don't know. It's one thing, but it goes then hand in hand with the moon conspiracy,
yes, this has
doesn't
been
it?
going on ever
Yeah.
since Apollo 11 landed on the moon back in, was it
So
69?
fake.
A great moment if you're watching it live on TV. I'm old enough to remember that. But of course, at the time, people dismissed it as being absolute rubbish. It was a glorified Hollywood setup, and others actually believed that it was Stanley Kubrick who they'd employed to fake the whole moon landing, and that was the reason why he scarpered off to the United Kingdom to do the rest of his films from there. But I really don't go with that one particularly. I think he actually dismissed that in his lifetime, very strenuously dismissed that as being absolutely poppycock, I think he said.
Poppycock. I mean, Robert Eberle is saying,
Hello, Rob.
good evening, gentlemen. Send that drone up and take a picture.
Well, we
That's
could.
a good one. Yes, we
good
could.
idea.
But this for the flat Earth, that thing with the moon, it's a, it's an expensive fake.
Yes,
And that expensive fake is for years and years. So if there's really something, so our governments, like I says now, up the International Space Station,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, who says this is not somewhere in a big warehouse
Well, as
just
another one,
set
yes.
up? You know what movies, you know what CGI can do
Oh,
nowadays.
indeed, yes.
So how can you disprove that? Because in the end of the day, we don't have access to the source.
No, we don't.
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
We don't.
No.
We only say and believe what we see, what they tell us, what NASA gives us on images, and that. So there's people are still, not trusting the source where the information come from, NASA and the governments. What else on proof is there now?
Well, on the subject of NASA, thank you for reminding me. A year back, there was widely reported that there were, I think, 90 plus ex-members of NASA who had resigned, mostly for the same reason. They were fed up, so they claimed that NASA was doctoring all images from space.
See,
And it went
here we
through
go.
this special department before they were released onto the public. And they went round, some of the 90, whatever it was, people, went round on a lecture circuit, lecturing the American public, as it were, exactly that point. Don't believe what you see from NASA because it's all been doctored and all the rest of it. I think they were skewing more towards unidentified flying objects rather than anything else. Another point that I've just remembered, Thomas, the Chinese, one of the motives for them getting a space program together and to get onto the moon, there were other reasons, but one of the reasons was to prove once and for all whether the Americans did go there or whether they didn't. And that's still up in the air. The Indians had a similar notion.
The Chinese landed on the moon. The Russians landed on the moon.
Yes, they've landed
so
craft.
They all did. So, I mean, it is, when you see more and more comes out, and now to fake that whole thing, I think it's getting harder and harder with social media to fake stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't think that they put billions in just to fake that all and get people...
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, if they go this distance... for what? Why is the next question? Why are they doing it? What is the reason? What is the use for them of doing it? They have no use.
No. What's the motive?
What the motive? Exactly.
I don't know, Thomas. So can we agree on this point that we believe that we believe that they did land on the moon and that the Earth is not flat?
It's not flat.
We agree with those two, yeah?
Yeah, and if there's anybody out there who doesn't agree with us, don't worry, write into us, send us an evidence, or even come and have a chat. This is very polite. We're respectful. We respect everybody's opinion here. I mean, everybody has the right to his own opinion.
Absolutely.
And so we do that, but we don't have to agree on everything, and that's the beauty. We still can be friends. But like you and me, I mean, we're not agreeing on everything, but
no,
at the end of the
90%
day... Yeah.
Plus.
But going on, when we spoke, the Earth is flat, and... the moon landings, what is here, Sarah Roseman is writing in, and this brings me to one of the other things we got on the board, because that is one of the biggest conspiracy theories on the planet, and that's gone on with Area 51.
Yes.
I mean, that's big. Here Sarah Roseman is saying, and thank you for your open-minded message here. It's great. She says, hi Claire, Thomas and Adrian. UFOs and aliens, I don't believe.
Oh, really?
I don't believe they are fictitious.
Oh, fictitious.
Fictitious, from a twinkling pentati.
Pentati is always twinkling, has fantastic night skies there, very little light pollution. So, yes, a very good evening to you, David and Sarah. So, am I right in saying she doesn't believe, she does believe?
She does believe. I don't believe they are fictitious.
Right, great. I'm with you, Sarah.
Wow, I know you just jumped into life.
We could actually do a whole programme on one subject. I've been trying to encourage mildly Thomas for the last 2 years to do a programme about UFOs, specifically about UFOs. So maybe something can come out from this topic that we're talking now about that.
Man, this is one of the oldest conspiracies we have now here. Is this with the Area 51?
Yes, it is.
Back
from the late 40s.
Yeah. When you look into that, so Roswell, everything started there, and then Area 51 appeared out of nowhere, and there's a lot of documentaries, and they released now a lot of things, but still nothing regarding aliens. Yes, I know there's a lot of footage for people say, okay, that's evidence, and they're seeing it as evidence, but can we trust that footage? It's there's so much now since social media come. I haven't seen anything progressing with evidence.
Well, there was something dramatic released about a year ago. Donald Trump released 2 videos from the Department of Defense, which were showing a cockpit video of an American fighter pilot, and they had concrete evidence of UFOs before them. That was wildly shared on social media, but also...
I know what you mean. We saw that video together.
Yes,
you showed that to me.
Did.
Yeah.
All the main news networks picked that up. And, of course, we've had signed affidavits from ex-admiral of the fleet in the UK who went on about a famous case of about 10 years ago when RAF planes and Belgian planes were scrambled because of reported sightings of UFOs floating around the English Channel. I myself have very strong views on this particular subject, so perhaps I'm not the best person to answer these points, but I will categorically say to you that yes, they exist. I'm absolutely more than 100%, because I actually believe in what I see with my own eyes, not what I'm told or what I read in books or anything else.
So you're in unity with Sarah?
I'm 100%, yes. I absolutely know for a fact, and I put my hand on my heart and say this and look you straight in the eye and tell you, they're there, right now. Believe me on that.
Okay, cool. Now I'm happy you believe in that one, and I'm not
I
smiling
believe
at you,
passionately.
man.
No, I don't
But,
mind. Most people think I'm a complete
for me,
lunatic.
it's,
I don't care. That's all right.
Yeah,
All
go the
views are
definition
considered
UFO.
here.
It's unidentified flying object.
Yes.
So it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily need to
No,
be alien.
But I'm talking
You know
about
what I mean? It's
craft from other
Yeah.
cultures, not of this world, not of this
Not of-
Earth
so-
planet. That's what I'm specifically talking about. Yes, absolutely. And I'm very happy to take questions afterwards. Drop me a line at the
Drop me a
inbox
line.
at studiokerkera.com. Don't hold back now.
No, and I'm happy. It is a thing. But me, I don't know. I read a lot of things. I saw a lot of things.
I knew you didn't believe me.
It's no. It's not. I'm not saying I don't
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just I'm not sure.
You're a skeptic.
Yes,
That's fair
I'm
enough.
skeptical,
Yeah,
totally
and,
skeptical about
quite
it. That
right
could
to,
happen.
yes.
Why should we be in the universe the only living organism? Space is so fast. It's really it's unbelievable. So of course there must be something somewhere. If we connected with them, if they come here to us and contacted us in the past, yes. When you look the pyramids, when you told me about the pyramids, it's
They're
unbelievable.
amazing,
You said when
yes.
you stay there, it's just you gasping for air when you see that.
Absolutely, yes. And, of course, it's a well-known fact that the measurements are so precise that they're even better than a modern-day laser, which is quite extraordinary because some of them are 7,000 years old. It's the other thing, though, Thomas, in Egypt, when you're lucky enough to walk down some of the tombs in the Valley of the Kings,
Yeah.
you will see all these wonderful illustrations and hieroglyphics on the walls. But if you, not on all of these tombs, but in some of them, if you look upwards at the ceiling, that's where you see the most extraordinary illustrations of, for want of a better word, flying men in suits, rather akin to the Apollo astronauts, I should point out. Now, of course, the disbelievers or the skeptics are going to say, oh, someone's come along and painted fancy illustrations since. But I truly don't believe that, and I spoke to a lot of Egyptian people, including Professor of Antiquities and all sorts of other people, and they have some very fascinating stories to tell. I can believe you.
No,
Abu Simbel was another place.
I don't disagree with you there. No, with that. Man, I haven't seen them myself. If I would see them myself, or would have been part in something where I say, okay, this could be alien. But as you know, I always try to explain. I research a lot and I look into the background. When I see now video footage online, I look at that and I can tell you, okay, this has been doctored. It's my profession,
sure.
so
Yes,
I can see
quite.
if you also by the pictures when you look at these things. But not everything you can explain, and I think this is this unexplained part of this whole UFO thing. Here, Lino Harris saying, I believe this UFO have been arriving here for years.
Yes.
So and you are totally with that, and maybe
100%.
it could be.
But I do also take the very strong point that I should think probably 98% of everything you see on the internet connected with UFOs is fake or has been doctored.
How many percent?
I'd go as far as say 98, but maybe not so high that. But I think it's a very high percentage.
Because it's so it makes me always smile when people still, I looked at a couple of videos and people are very, very serious about that. And then they're telling they got abducted.
That's another one. That's a funny one,
that's the
isn't
next
it?
one.
Yes,
This
abducted
is
by aliens. I have no angle on that whatsoever. I can't.
And then makes me smile because when they said they get then probed, and you know what I mean with probed.
Yes,
and,
we do.
And I saw that today, and this reminded me on the movie Bowl.
Paul, I'm just going to say that
because he's just sitting there. And sorry for my language,
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. Yes. But the alien in there said, "What is up with you?" Probing. Why do you think? What can we learn from an ass? So,
what a good question. He's spot on, bang on.
There.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what. If you haven't seen the film, it's a laugh a minute. It's really.
It's a laugh a minute.
I think Nick Frost is also in it. It's got a great cast and great lines, great script, and good effects as well.
Definitely.
I think Paul was quite an affectionate character, wasn't he?
It is, but see, why we said people are believing, some believe, some don't know. Like I don't know, I'm skeptical about it, and there's others saying, "No, this is utter rubbish. Forget that." No, I understand why they're saying it because some of the things that are thrown out there, you can see this is fake, and you get so much fake stuff. After a while, you say, you know what? So the true things, or maybe there's really evidence out there we have all missed because of all this fake stuff what goes out.
Yes, well, here's one thing to throw in the mix, a little caveat there, talking about what's true and what's fake. Here's something that's real. About a couple of years ago, as is the way in the United Kingdom, after I think it's 70-year rule, is it? They get to release certain highly classified documents from held at the Public Record Office in Kew. And this particular batch was a cabinet meeting back in the late 1950s when Winston Churchill was Prime Minister.
Okay.
And would you believe these documents that were released into the public domain a couple of years ago clearly showed that just one cabinet meeting was exclusively given over to the subject of UFOs.
UFOs.
And a vote was taken, and it was agreed, although I think Winston Churchill had the casting vote, it was agreed back in the late 50s that the subject of UFOs would not become public knowledge. They were not going to push it, talk about it, or anything else. It was going to be buried. The reason he gave was he didn't want to incite panic amongst the British population.
See, and that's what is always the excuse, isn't it?
Yes, but the fact that they actually had an actual cabinet meeting discussing that one subject is quite extraordinary. And here's another thing from Russia. When they're going back now quite some time, there was a leader in Russia in recent times called Andropov, I think. I can't remember his Christian name, I do beg your pardon. And when he came to power, he wasn't in power for very long, I have to say. When he came to power, he did exactly the same. He set up a full-blown UFO investigations unit, precisely because at that time Russia had the most number of UFO sightings across the globe. Other countries like Israel have also reported a lot, so have Peru, Mexico, and the like, and China as well, I think. But Russia also had this dedicated team, although I would say it got closed down possibly under early days with President Putin. I can't be too sure of that, but it's that kind of era.
Yeah, no, okay. Move on. There's a few other things, but no,
yes,
UFOs. There's UFOs that it could be. You believe in it, and there's a couple of viewers who believe in it, and that's fine. That's great.
We're believers.
Maybe you're really right, and one day it's going to happen, and it gets revealed, and it proves you guys were right. They are UFOs. It's just all the other stories about aliens what go on.
Oh, well,
that's what is disturbing me. That's what drives me out and say, you know what? This is a little bit heavy, because nowadays we got all the smartphone, we got video cameras everywhere, camcorders everywhere, but it's the smartphone, it's the tablets we're carrying 24/7 with us, and you can't tell me there's not one. Everybody, I had this experience and this happened in front of me. You got your mobile phone with you. Why don't you pick that up and film that?
True.
So why it's nobody coming forward with any footage?
Well, there is some. You can see dash cam footage. I've seen dash cam footage on YouTube, but again, I'm sceptical how genuine that footage is. Yes, you make a good point, Thomas. For
yeah,
sure.
man, genuine. And if it's genuine, when you look at that could be anything.
Yes, it could.
There's a lot of people out there who have their own workshops, where it's at their sheds, and you will be amazed what some people build in their sheds, man. You're gonna get scared when you see certain things, man. So why not? There could be people out there who developed something in their shed, a travel device.
Yeah.
And he's using that. He's not publicizing it because he just wants to use it for himself, no? And he's causing that. Is it theory?
It's a theory, but it has no relation to anything that I've got in my head or my memory, I have to say. But yes, no, you're right. And don't forget, the Russians actually developed a flying saucer that actually worked for a bit, didn't they? I don't quite know what
exactly. And where, you see, and that comes then where I said, okay, you research that and say, okay, where does this come from? It's the images, how they're flying, how they're seeing, something had to be there to kick that off. So it's a broad spectrum we're talking here, and I don't want to think. As the last I want to say here is from Army quickly. Army said, everybody can believe what they want. I believe my husband sometimes. So
okay, nice one, Army.
It's a good one.
Good for your husband. Say hello.
Hey, why not? If they exist or not, it's another question. That's, I think, it's material for another show where we can more look into that because you really like that, aren't you?
I'm quite obsessed about that topic. Yes.
Yeah. Then we have.
But we'll have a special show.
We have a special show
just
on that one.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah.
That's great.
But so let's move on to.
Let's move on to the other, and let's move on to current. What is a current conspiracy? And I think you got there something. Well, what is really current?
Very current, and is a political one, is QAnon business, Thomas. It was preceded by a thing called Pizzagate, would you believe? You may remember that back in 2016 or the latter half of 2015, during the beginnings of the American-US presidential election. Pizzagate basically centered around this pizzeria in Washington, D.C., which was alleged to be the center of an elite group of people who were operating a child sex trafficking ring, would you believe, and all the other nasties and horrible things that go along with that. The information originally, allegedly, came from hacked emails. The FBI were investigating a couple of American politicians, and these people who believed this theory of Pizzagate thought that in these emails there were coded messages, and it all gets extremely over the top. The whole thing was spread by a guy called Alex Jones, who's famous in the States and around the globe on YouTube, who runs a channel called Infowars. He proliferated this theory, and just recent times it's been utterly and totally debunked. Completely not true. Never happened. The serious point on Pizzagate was, though, that a man was minded to arm himself with a rifle, go to this pizzeria and open fire. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured or worse, killed, but it just shows you how some individuals can overreact to something that actually isn't true to begin with, and that's really quite frightening, isn't it?
It is, especially when I find out. I mean, he got famous with that one, didn't he? A big channel, got on, had a lot of followers, and now more or less nearly everything he said got disproved.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, totally disproved. It was all really, I suppose, started because Hillary Clinton made the mistake of mixing up her private email account with the White House email account, and there were investigations going on other subjects with the FBI, and all this came about. But why this is in the news today is that from Pizzagate then, we've now got this QAnon. You've probably heard it. It's topical right this minute because YouTube have banned all QAnon sites. Apparently there's tens of thousands of them, would you believe? And Facebook banned them earlier this week on Monday. QAnon has been around since October 17. It's supported by Donald Trump, would you believe, who apparently someone's calculated he's retweeted their tweets, I think, 216 times, although yesterday he went on record saying he's never heard of them. Doesn't know what you're talking about, which is quite extraordinary. In case you're wondering, QAnon, what does it stand for? Well, anon is short for anonymous. The Q, I got this wrong. I thought Q was sort of questioning anonymous, but no, not at all. Q comes from the level of security in the United States Department of Energy and the Department of Defense. The Energy Department deals with nuclear, so you can see the significance. Q, a person who's given Q clearance, means that they are able to access the highest ranking confidential files that could possibly exist. So it's believed that this QAnon was started by one person. Now people think it's a whole group. And they are basically an ultra-white supremacist right-wing group. That's here we go, exactly, yes. And they are claiming that Donald Trump is their chief, and he's at war with
fits perfectly in, doesn't it?
It does, yes. He's at war with the proliferators of this child sex trafficking ring again. So it's Pizzagate rehashed, or should I say reserved. And it seems to be the Republicans blaming Republicans blaming the Democrats. Now, this all came about a long time ago from something in America called the Franklin Ring, which I can't remember when this was. It's quite some time ago. And in the Franklin Ring, they discovered it was actually a cabal of Republicans who were allegedly running child sex trafficking rings. So you see how it's completely turned 180 degrees. Yes. Of course, the old saying goes, no smoke without fire. And maybe the fire burning under the background here is to do with the Jeffrey Epstein case. It may have taken more significance on with what we're talking about here with these trafficking rings. We all know about the news about Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell is waiting to have her day in court, which will be probably next year. It was unfortunate during that investigation that Jeffrey Epstein was found hanged mysteriously in his prison cell. Now, there's another conspiracy theory right there. Did he really take his life, or was he murdered? I don't know the answer to that. But,
it's getting there, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But,
but it has great relevance to right now, particularly in America, as less than 3 weeks, they're off to the polls to vote. Of course, millions have already voted, would you believe? I think it's 20 million people have already cast their votes. But the big day is November the 3rd. So anything that is proliferating and spreading like wildfire across social media that is denouncing the opponents or indeed the ruling party has extra significance to the floating voter, the undecided voter. So if you like, there is one massive information war being fought right across the globe right now on social media.
And I'm not surprised, and there's many going. I mean, let me go back to the poll quickly, where we were asking, do you believe in conspiracy? Yes, I believe, 6%.
Oh, right.
Believe in some, 47%. And is all nonsense, 47%. So there you see.
Two of those have shot up.
Shot up, yeah. I believe in some 47, and it's all nonsense is another 47. So when you look into the votes, it's
shifting, but it's definitely going to the airing of caution, possibly.
Totally. I mean, when you believe in, you said now, I got viewers here say you believe in some. So which ones are they? Let us know what conspiracy you think is worth to talk, or what conspiracy grabs you and say, there could be something behind that one.
Absolutely. Of course, the other one, perhaps the elephant in the room, which is topical right now, but it is political, but not in electioneering sense, and that is the dreaded pandemic, COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
The fact, does it exist? Is it a media conspiracy? Is it a government conspiracy? There's those two. And here's the other one that I'll quickly talk about in a minute, this notion of the connection between 5G and this pandemic. Now, you've got to be careful what you say. I mean, look, on that subject, there are people out there who genuinely believe COVID-19 stems from something to do with this latest incantation of mobile telephony. It's been picked up and run with people like David Icke, and we can talk about him quite a bit, really. I would just say, Thomas, really, is that so? How can that be so when one of the countries outside of China to be very badly affected was Iran, before Italy got hit badly? And you telling me seriously to expect me to believe, or anyone else, that Iran is festooned with 5G mobile masts? Is it really?
But that conspiracy, that's one where I smile a little bit, because before they said this is health, this is really bad for your health, and that's when the 5G started off. They started actually off before COVID-19.
Okay, right. Yes, I can believe that. Yes,
it just hooked itself on. This could be the cause of COVID-19, that 5G. No, they claimed before that it says health issues. It's the microwaves, allegedly, what these aerials sending out, they are not good for you. And I read that one, and they were really concerned about your health, about your heart, about your brain waves, and so on. And as soon as this virus arrived, all of that, that's the problem.
Yes,
that's what 5G is doing. And
the point about the what they're chucking out in the 5G, it's the I've heard Mr. Icke himself say it in his own words. It was the enormous leap in gigahertz. That's between 3 and 4G is still small beer, but there was a tremendous
between 4 and
leap.
5G is it's bigger. Yes, it is.
I can't remember the figure, but it was a staggeringly high figure of gigahertz. And to him, he believes that this is only going back a few months ago now, that it was a main cause of 5G. But hey, of COVID-19. But let's remember something. They've been working on 5G for getting on for 10 years.
10 years now, definitely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, all the tests run, everything what they're doing. I mean, come on, it's they're doing their best to find out what consequences, what influence does this 5G, what this network has on itself, the good things, the bad things, how is the data delivery. But at the same time, they're also looking at the health issues. What is with the microwaves? So this is all into the study, and if they find something, I cannot believe that they're going to release that and just waiting for a catastrophe to happen. Because if they let that run, problems really start. All the investigative journalists going to be all over that.
Absolutely.
Going to be a big story, and they won't risk that, because in the end of the day, it's gonna come out. And I think they're responsible enough to do what they did and what they said. I think it's spot on. There is no conspiracy, no lie behind that one.
No, I totally agree. And can we say now here in the studio that we both passionately disagree with this conspiracy theory of 5G?
5G, I hear Pierre Towers is writing in, and that's a good one. He said, I recall when they were saying that mobiles would fry our brains too. And
Yes,
he's spot on there.
they
That's
did.
exactly it. But the
Absolutely.
5G is just the same story again. Everything new, all the new developments. There's instantly a conspiracy behind it with everything now, and because of social media it becomes more and more and more. So try to identify what's real, what's not. So, and some conspiracies are full real.
Yes. Social media amplifies these things,
Yeah.
doesn't it? That's what it is. One crumb of comfort, a factual piece of information I can give you, and it's always good to get hold of the facts, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
My aunt, she's no longer alive, but my aunt had a mobile telephone mast in her grounds, and she spent the last 17 years of her life, I think it was, with this mast about, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet away from where she was sleeping. She never suffered any ill health effects from that mast whatsoever.
No sleep deprivation or anything.
No more normal than she'd always had in her life. But the important thing is she didn't have brain cancer. She didn't develop any sort of cancer whatsoever. And this mast was 50 to 100 feet away from her bedroom. So I absolutely have always believed that mobile masts are relatively safe. Do you remember, though, Thomas, back in the UK when Tony Blair was a Prime Minister there,
Yeah.
he appointed some professor to do a full-blown study,
Yeah.
and he did. He's cost a lot of money, he spent a lot of time on it, and he produced these pamphlets that was basically warning people about hands-free kits in cars. That's
Yeah.
what it was. And also he was concerned about mobile masts on the rooftops of schools. This pamphlet had by law to be distributed to everyone who bought a mobile phone, and what happened, of course, they got sent out to all the retailers but hardly ever found their way to the customer, so it all got kind of shelved. So here we are a few years after that, and we've got more mobile masts than ever. Some are doubling up with different carriers on one mast, and we're beginning to see the advent slowly roll out of 5G. As far as I'm aware, Thomas, I don't think the population, I'm no expert, has suffered unduly because of that. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I follow that with the 5G because they're planning now to roll that out, but not for the public use. They rolling it out for the media organizations, for broadcasters. That's the first step where they're gonna roll this 5G out and testing it through, because it's very good for audio-video transfer. So this 5G is, I can't wait for it to play with it around. I tell you that, gonna be great. But no, I think there's always in some things some truth in there, no? But I think in that one there is no truth at all.
I agree totally with you, Thomas. I don't believe there's one bit of truth in it whatsoever. And the other thing that I was rather sad and amused at the same time to see that David Icke got quickly onto the bandwagon about that 5G business.
Yeah.
And then he was going to lead a mass demonstration protest in Trafalgar Square a few weeks back, where he was going to proliferate.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got on the anti-mask bandwagon and all the conspiracy around COVID-19 itself.
He was very clever. He picked up on all these things very, very early.
Very much
that's
so.
coming. And before it really exploded, he
Helped
hooked
by-
himself on like a leech to that and just blown it out of proportion. And that's why he got so many followers. People love to hear that.
11 million. They were spending £40,000 a month to get their followers on Facebook, would you believe? And it was all done by courtesy of an independent station, which isn't actually independent, called London Real, who gave David Icke 3 very controversial interviews. In fact, they were banned. The first lot were banned by both Facebook and YouTube, and he tried to take them to court and goodness knows what else. And then I don't quite know what happened, but then he suddenly pops up in Trafalgar Square. The good thing is, from my point of view, is the Metropolitan Police quickly closed that one down. You might be interested to know that in his first 2 interviews, he earned a staggering £800,000.
It's unbelievable. Now crowdfunding and just
exactly. Yeah,
it's really weird. I mean, let me go here. I got a couple of things in here. I mean, Peter Haas is saying conspiracy. Think about it. If smoking causes cancer, how does it cure salmon? So that's
I've heard that on Facebook. I've seen that recently. It's quite witty.
It's quite witty.
Very witty indeed. Yes, I think it's a different
Bill,
type of
that's
smoking,
great.
mind you. But well done, Pierre. I have to say, on the subject of smoking, yes, the statistics, so they tell us, show that smoking enhances the risk of getting lung cancer and all sorts of other diseases. The other side of that coin is, okay, I'm biased. I am a smoker
Are you?
still. I'm biased on this subject, not on others, but on smoking I am. And I would say that my grandfather was smoking till he was 96. Didn't have any ill effects. But then on the other side of the coin, my other grandfather died at 55 through emphysema, or COPS as it's now called, which was directly related to smoking. Talking to some expert in lung cancer, they told me that actually it's all about the genes in the DNA.
In the DNA. Yeah, let me go over here now. I got from Pierre Towers. Pierre Towers here. I'm surprised people aren't up in arms about the Wi-Fi signals bouncing around inside their houses. The Bluetooth close-range signals bouncing around too. Yeah. But of course they are not. Because they like the functionality.
Yes,
see,
indeed,
that's a good one.
And I think there's still some studies going on about that, because we've now got Amazon's Alexa, isn't it? We've got these other devices. That you can just talk to, and they do everything for you, apart from cook a meal. Well, I suppose they could do that even, maybe.
Yeah, but what he says, you know what, they're nobody, because the functionality, that's great for me. Oh, I can surf, I can watch videos, and I text around, you know. They're, funny enough, we're not concerned, because we got the use of it. We can't be without that. Imagine now, it would come out of the blue. Wow, mobile phones, tablets, wireless internet at home. It's really, really dangerous. We have to stop that.
There are people who think that, but that's another subject for another day. Because we're going to be doing one.
I tell you what's gonna happen. They probably come up within a day. There's a conspiracy going on. Then see, now they try to get us off the information highway down, so we don't get any info, no news. Now they start controlling us.
Yeah, could be a point. Yes.
Yeah, you know, so it doesn't matter they move. It always goes to this way. I think. But okay.
Okay, thanks, Pierre. That's a good thought.
That was great. Yeah, but let me say another one. Another one makes me smile, and I heard that in person from people telling me, and even you, Adrian, and maybe you out there, and that's the great conspiracy about all the airlines letting out on top
chemtrails.
Chemtrails from the airlines everywhere. So I don't know what they should do. Some telling me, hey, they're gonna dumb you down, or they make you slow.
Yeah,
so you're
that's what they think.
Yeah, it's weird, but that's a big one.
It's a big one. Apparently, first around in 1996. It was born out of the fact that someone found out that the American government had been trying to influence and interfere with the weather patterns. And from that, it seemed to grow into a theory. The idea is that these chemical trails are full of nasty poisons that would control your mind or change your health and all the rest of it. It was amplified in 1999 by a famous American DJ radio host who spread it like wildfire, so much so that in the year 2000 all the American main government agencies all got together and put out an absolute avalanche of denial. It's simply not happening. Well,
they went on the barricades. I remember all the governments around went up and said that's
Thomas,
utter nonsense.
If there was truth in these chemical
no
trails,
truth in there.
Well, I agree with that. It's a statement, yes. But if there were any truth, how come then there haven't been so many effects of these terrifying effects? Surely we would get to know since 1996. Just think of all the, until COVID-19 came along, of course, just think of all the increased air travel. I mean, extraordinary amount of air travel been going on for the last 20 years. Surely there would be reports of lots of people being adversely affected health-wise by these so-called chemical trails emanating from the rear end of an aircraft. I mean, we all see them. We look above in the skies, and on a beautiful sunny blue sky day, we see these things. Are they really going to be gassing us? Are they really going to be affecting the way our minds think, softening up our brains, making us less resistant? I think that's what the thing is. Pacify the population. But I personally don't give them any truck whatsoever. So there's another one, Thomas. Can we agree here on Agree to Disagree that we actually agree? We don't agree with the notion that there's any substance to the rumour of chemical trails from aircraft.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't, if there would be, man, we all would have had it, including the government, including the people who started that whole thing. They would be affected now from it. So and there is none. So I think this is just it's just that's scaremongering. That's I put under scaremongering, where you try so desperately to find the story, so you make up a conspiracy, and had also everything to do with making money at the same time. Sadly enough.
That's a good point, yes.
Some made lots of money out of conspiracies.
Including,
look at Area 51, how many books were written, how many videos were shot.
Yes,
and
gift shops.
Wow,
there's a gift shop there selling models and all sorts of things,
that's that marketing cannon is shooting full power, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And they even say that there's evidence that this QAnon conspiracy theory has made loads of money for a select group of people about a year ago. I don't know whether that's going on now, but just shows you, doesn't it?
It's it is. Here, Jackie Cherry is saying, why do all these conspiracy theories originate from the US?
That's a good question.
It's a good one,
Yes,
because I think the majority comes from there, doesn't it?
I think a large amount of them do, yes. I'm just having a quick look at our list to see if we've...
Yeah, I got here an email in from Nikos.
Oh, okay.
In saying, enjoying tonight show very much. But why do some people prefer to believe wild conspiracy theories rather than truth?
Well,
for example, why do people prefer to believe the Twin Towers were blown up deliberately by pre-arranged explosive when we all saw those planes plow into them? But a conspiracist will explain that away by claiming the film footage was doctored. But why is it easier to believe one version of wickedness, not the other?
That's a good point, Nico. Maybe... shame we didn't have this discussion when we saw you earlier on, when you were here on this beautiful film. There are some answers to that. Yes, it's a good point you make about the alleged doctoring of the film. There were so many anomalies in that 9/11 thing. I mean, here's one top of my head. There was that passport that, with all that debris, everything collapsed in a terrible state, was miraculously found in amongst all the rubble that pinpointed to the pilot who was supposed to be Al-Qaeda. There was that. There was the French couple doing some film documentary at the time, just happened to be on the scene. There's other stories, though, that make people suspicious. For instance, what you're talking about, we saw on television, the towers
I saw that live with Claire too.
But there's other people, I did as well, yeah. There's other people who say, but there was thermite put inside the inside of the building. That has gained some traction because there were all these reports from people working inside the Twin Towers that there were the strange goings-on in the 2 weeks before September the 11th with unknown maintenance going on and all of that. Then you got all the stories about how these eminent people, so-called, from the City of London were stopped from getting on the plane, including the New York mayor at the time, Rudy Giuliani. He was getting out of his chauffeur-driven car and he was stopped and then taken off to another block. Another strange thing that happened, Fox News were, like many other American channels, were broadcasting live. They'd just shown, I think, the impact of the first tower. And then one of their editors shot to another scene, and it was this very large 4x4 classic CIA standard issue vehicle leaving the area. And of course they had a lockdown that no vehicle could leave anywhere whatsoever. But this vehicle was clearly seen speeding off into the distance. And when somebody asked a question, a viewer asked a question about that, the screens went to another shot completely, and that was never seen again. I'm open-minded about this.
This is also, maybe it's all coincidence, and at the time, we're live here, we're talking now. If somebody mentions something, we're looking something, we're probably missing that, and we can't get into that really quickly because we don't know what's going on. We are occupied otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being in a film studio and then cutting away, they probably haven't checked that at all. The director or the producer haven't seen that in the scene. And they just cut over and said nothing because it was not in their mind. They concentrated on something different.
True, but some people believe that was part and parcel of it. There's other things as well. There's something about, here's two things. The other plane that crashed, did it crash in Pennsylvania? That's the one that had video shown of people making their last
calls from
to their parents and loved ones and partners and husbands and wives. And there was that famous excerpt released, wasn't it, by a man who was phoning his mother to say goodbye, and he called her Mrs. Smith. Now, you wouldn't call your mother
Mrs. Smith.
But so, how accurate or true that video purporting to be from that airplane, I can't say. I mean,
here Pierre Towers is saying, read the Twin Towers, watch Susan Lindauer, ex-CIA agent, video on YouTube. It's very interesting. And he posted on the bottom here in the comments, he posted this link. Have a look on that. Man, I saw a couple of videos. Explanations are brilliant. I looked into that. I mean, it's how they tell the story I have a problem with. When I look some of these videos, some of these documentaries, how it's dramatized.
Yes,
I have a big problem with that.
Yeah, quite right.
When I do a documentary, when I show that's real, that's what I found out, that's what I found through my research, and then I start, telling you about this, and I put a little bit of dramatic music underneath.
Yeah.
It makes it for me unbelievable. This is a point for me where I say, okay, that's dramatized. I don't want it dramatized. I want the truth. I want the straight truth. No dramatization on top of that. Like it is. And people are going on about that. Yeah, as long as the government is not releasing the proper documents on what happened at 9/11.
Well, that's
going to carry on, because in the end of the day, what I believe is that they covering up the people who got paid building these towers, and they built that very, very badly. They cut corners everywhere they could, and they are probably, not probably, that's the one they are protecting. That's why the truth is not coming out.
One fact that was
it's fraud. It's just fraud.
Yes, one fact that was purported as a fact was that both the towers, only one of them was insured, ultimately at Lloyd's Insurance of London. That's one alleged fact. Yeah, I have to say. The other anomaly with it all is what happened and why did Building 7 collapse? That's another mysterious one. And here's the one that I have a problem with. It's the Pentagon. Now, we all know that a Pentagon has 5 sides. I think it's a hell of a coincidence that the one side that got the maximum impact was the very side where they were having this very high-level powered meeting from the Federal Reserve. I read this over a period of weeks, a long time ago, from the Financial Times, a newspaper that prides itself on giving factual reports around the globe. They reported that there were about 90 people from the Federal Reserve who were invited into this all-important meeting on September the 11th, early on in the morning, and they had to bring with them all their papers, documents, hard drives, memory sticks and laptops and everything to do with what they were planning to change the Federal Reserve. I can't tell you what they were planning on doing. I have no idea. And it was that segment of the Pentagon that got the direct impact. And further to that, there is this also these feelings that it wasn't a plane that actually went into the Pentagon because of the aperture of the actual penetrative hole, and they're saying it was more likely to be a cruise missile.
I don't believe that.
Right, well, here's another one, though. Rolls-Royce, who made the engines on the particular aircraft, Boeing 747, that was alleged to have gone into the Pentagon. Apart from the tragic accident in the Pacific with the Malaysian airline, so they still haven't found the wreckage. Apart from that one, they've managed to retrieve every single secret metal indestructible plate embedded on their engines from every air crash there's ever been involving a Rolls-Royce engine. They took a party of people out to the Pentagon very quickly, and they could never find it. They've never found that. To this day, that's never been found. And Rolls-Royce said at the time, our engine was not on that plane or object, whatever it was, that hit the Pentagon. That's what they're saying.
Okay, but I'm still, but I'm not sure about it. I don't think this was a missile at all. When you looked at it, and there was some debris from an aeroplane, definitely there. I don't know on that one. I have to be honest there. But let's move on, because we got this 9/11, and this is one of the big ones. But there's also another big one, and people are writing in. I got from Jackie Charities, and I got this from Nikos Louvros and Annabelle in. That's one thing we got on the board here, and that's what about the conspiracy that Princess Diana was murdered?
I knew that one was coming up.
Here,
yes,
and here Nikos is saying, why do some people prefer to believe Prince Philip arranged Princess Diana to be assassinated. When she died from a drunk driver. See that now? Yes,
that's a problem with that last bit.
Exactly, I have a problem with the last bit too, because I don't believe he was drunk at all.
Drunk. No,
and they've proven that he was not drunk.
Exactly.
So it's
and the red car mysteriously disappearing, and the man who drove it turns up dead, and all that.
I mean,
to accuse someone like Prince Philip, I've actually heard Prince Charles being accused. I have no truck with those rumours. Absolutely none. You have to have hardcore evidence to persuade me on that one. I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, Anita Reason is saying, I believe she was. Yeah?
Sorry, she believes...
she believes that Diana was murdered.
Oh, that's a different story. Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't believe Princess Diana's tragic car accident was an accident. That's all I believe. I cannot possibly speculate further than that. Because, yes, she was possibly the most famous lady alive in the world at the moment, and there were lots of reasons why lots of people didn't want her ultimately to become Queen of England as the wife of Prince Charles, who would perhaps become King Charles III. But there was also, you've got to think about the other person that died in the alleged accident, and that was Dodi Fayed. There were lots of wild speculative rumours about him, very strong rumours, so he could have been a target. It wasn't necessarily an open and shut case that, if it was murder, shall we say, it was definitely Diana who was the target. We can't clearly say.
We can't say. I mean, Al-Fayed himself now, the father, he thinks that was his assassination.
Yes, I've heard
he believes that he still owns Harrods.
No,
not anymore. He did. No, he sold that afterwards, didn't he?
Yes.
Well, he believes full this was a conspiracy, and his life is in danger. And this is the relationship between Diana and him, Dodi. So it's. I mean, here Robert James is saying, don't believe in at all in conspiracy theories. I'm a realist.
Good one. Yeah,
it's a good one. That's a great thing. And if you
I have to say, we like to pride ourselves, Thomas, here, all of us, or Claire as well, and Studio Kirkra. We're realists, aren't we? We're
realists,
not fantasists, I don't think you could describe us. Or away with the fairies, are we?
No, definitely not. But I think here, Jackie and Anita and also Nikos, I think they have somewhere right here with that about the accident about Princess Diana, because it is still unclear. It's still not solved. It's still not explained in a proper way. No. Okay, they had graphics and recreated this accident, and but when you look at it, there's always just a small detail missing, and that's what makes it. Where I say, okay, that was an easy explanation. When you look at how they went in and said, you know what, that's how it's happened. That's how we reconstructed the whole thing. Or it was an accident. He just lost it. But what makes it bad is about the driver, that he was drunk. What got proven then he wasn't.
It has been proven.
It has been proven.
Yes, it has, Thomas.
That's where everything falling apart. Yeah. That's why people still in there, because they proven a lie.
Yeah.
As simple as that. And that with what other conspiracy do we have that? Think now. I can't think of any other where we got proof. Hey, there was a lie in it, in the statement from the beginning. So why do you lie? Why do you try to push this to the driver? It would have been easy in saying, he drove too fast, he lost control. That were error in driving.
Yeah, we know he was being chased mercilessly by the paparazzi on motorbikes. We do know that for a fact. And there was that mysterious red car, which I said disappeared, didn't he? And the driver found dead a few days later.
So there's so many other stories going around that whole thing. So it's for sure one of the more interesting ones to look into and analyze that. Because I think there's still something what hasn't been discovered yet.
I reckon you're right with that one, Thomas. Yes. Let's say, before we forget to say, what a terrible, tragic, appalling, shocking accident that was. I can think of a few moments of news releases that absolutely spontaneously affected in such a strong way the whole of the population of the United Kingdom
the whole
at
world.
The same time. Well, absolutely. But I was in
everybody
the United
was
Kingdom.
shocked.
Oh, yes,
I tell you, I remember where I've been when it happened, exactly the moment. And when I speak not just now with English or with British people, but with Germans, with Italians, with Greeks,
sure.
They remember exactly where they were.
Yes, it's one of those things, isn't it?
At
like
the time
September
when the
11th,
news broke.
assassination of JFK, it's one of those major news events
Exactly,
that shakes the whole world. And it was absolutely palpable. I was in West Sussex at the time it happened. Lovely place, West Sussex in the United Kingdom. No, Chichester, I do believe. And absolutely, there wasn't a single person anywhere who wasn't moved, shall we say, by that shocking news.
Oh, it was crazy. I was in Rhodes at the time with Claire.
Oh, right, okay.
So, and we just sat in a cafe, and and this popped up on the screen, and we looked, boom. And it shocked me too, as Austrian, it shocked me, because, she was loved all around the world, and how it happened was just, it's just a bad way how it happened, man. It has not, it's the whole, how it happened afterwards, how the news got released, how the whole thing got handled, was completely wrong. And that's why this conspiracy probably is one of the most true.
Very true. Maybe so, yes.
Could be. You never know. But
we haven't got any concrete evidence on any of it, so I'll have to be...
we never will. That's the other side.
I'll have to be slightly agnostic.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Sadly.
We simply don't know, actually.
Yeah.
So we agree that we don't know. Is that
we
what
agree. We don't know, but
cool.
we know. We know one thing. I think there is something.
Yes, it wasn't a
maybe one day
accident.
it's gonna come out.
Yeah,
but the whole thing, the people who suffer, and that's what we never say. There's always, by every conspiracy, there's also people who suffer from it, innocently.
Yes.
Yeah. In this case, but Diana is her children.
Yes, Prince William and Prince Harry.
Prince Harry,
and they must be. Well, they are.
I mean, they still, and this is
yes,
still. You know what? This comes up every now and then. This Diana conspiracy comes up. I mean, how to deal with this then? They know the truth. If they can say it or not, or whatever this is, but just living with that and then being reminded constantly
yes,
of that. That must be pretty harsh.
Pretty harsh, heavy going for them.
Yeah, and the same 9/11.
Yes, the other thing about Diana, when she married Prince Charles from that moment on, well, actually before that, when she became friendly with him, and the media pounced on her, didn't they? I mean, she was very photogenic, for instance. That was obviously one factor. But she basically led her life, which normally a royal of that stature is quite a private life, but she led her life in a very public manner.
Totally.
I mean, she had that unbelievable interview with Martin Bashir on BBC Panorama, for instance, which was very controversial. But then there was all that business about those photographs of her exercising in the London gym. She could only walk out her door and she'd have a massive paparazzi at her.
Yeah.
Whatever she did, wherever she went, she was the focus of attention. She was, as I say, probably the most famous living woman alive at that time on the planet. I truly believe that. We never got the pleasure of meeting her, and I'm sure that she must, in her own way, must have been a very nice lady. I can't say otherwise. I simply don't know. I did see the Panorama interview, and I have to say that was a very uncomfortable watch. Which made me feel sorry for her sons, as we've just mentioned.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
And it must hurt them that these conspiracy theory about their mother's demise are still doing the rounds.
Doing the rounds. It is one of the biggest. Yeah, 9/11 and Diana, one of the biggest conspiracies around. Besides Area 51. That's not. But it's here. Before we go, because we're in hour 10 minutes on air, and already conspiracy theories go. But here, let me say, because Ed was speaking about realism, and here David Roseman is saying realism sounds rational until you try to determine what is real. No? So that's a good one.
Great point.
That's
David.
a great point.
We like that.
And
one.
the
That's
poll we had out today: do you believe in conspiracy? Yes, I believe 10%. I believe in some 48%, and it's all nonsense. 43%.
Ooh,
so
interesting.
See, it's interesting.
I like that.
I like that one.
Yeah, I do too. Well done,
really
everybody, for taking part in that. That's quite illuminating, isn't it? Bit of an eye-opener,
Totally.
Yes, but and I'm sure you can think of a few more conspiracies, and I do apologise if we've forgotten some.
Oh, there's so much, and maybe we do another show and go in and have pick some topics from some conspiracies, and we really together can discuss that and go through. But that was around conspiracy, the whole show of today. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for taking part and sending all your questions in and your emails. It was fantastic. If there's anything, you can watch this on catch up, and you can still comment, because we're looking in every now and then, and we still carry on commenting back, not live sadly, but hey, we are interested in as simple as that. But hey, that's all we have time for today. It's Friday, the weekend is ahead, so it's all I have to do is wish you a fantastic weekend. Enjoy it as much as you can, and I'm gonna see you again Monday, 10 o'clock. But until then, a Kalinichta from beautiful Corfu from me.
Absolutely nice. Well said, Thomas. And as always, thank you very much indeed for sharing your time with us. Take care, keep safe wherever you are, and have a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much for joining in the discussion. All the best now, and a very good evening to you all.